Residential report writing and case studies. Chapter 3. Exposure time. Exposure time is defined in USPAP as exposure time, an opinion based on supporting market data of the length of time that the property interest being appraised would have been offered on the market prior to the hypothetical consummation of a sale at market value on the effective date of the appraisal. Exposure time is an opinion developed by an appraiser, and it is required by USPAP when exposure time is a component of the definition of value being used. For example, in the FIREA definition of market value from the previous page, you will note this. 3. A reasonable time is allowed for exposure in the open market. This means that when an appraiser is developing an opinion of market value using this definition, the appraiser is required to develop and report an opinion of reasonable exposure time. Exposure time is the appraiser's opinion of the amount of time the property would have been on the market before the effective date. For example, if the effective date is September 1st, the question is, how long would this property have been exposed on the market in order to have a signed sales agreement on the property today? Depending on the property type and the prevailing market conditions, exposure time could be expressed in days, weeks, months, or even years. Exposure time is different than marketing time. Marketing time looks out into the future. It answers the question, if this property were put on the market today, how long would it take to sell it? Unlike exposure time, an opinion of marketing time is not required by USPAP, although some clients may request it in certain assignments. Appraisers using Fannie Mae/Freddie Mac form reports will need to supplement the form with an exposure time opinion. There is no specific blank on the form which asks for exposure time. The appraiser may put this opinion anywhere on the form or in an addendum. Another short quiz is coming up next. Number 1. Jorge is preparing an appraisal report for use in a divorce proceeding. What are his USPAP reporting requirements regarding his definition of value? A. He must state the definition and cite its source. B. He must refer to the location of the definition in a law or regulation. C. He may omit the definition from the report if the client permits. Or D. He must use the FIREA definition of market value. I'm going to go with he must use the FIREA definition of market value just because we've been going over FIREA. Number 2, Brenda prepares an appraisal report in which she states, word for word, the market value definition she is using. What other USPAP reporting requirements, if any, does she have regarding her definition of value? A, she must cite the source of the definition. B, there are no other USPAP requirements regarding her value opinion or definition. C, the definition must appear in boldface in a separate section of the report. Or D, she must use an extraordinary assumption regarding her value definition. I'm going to go with B. There are no other USPAP requirements regarding her value definition. This is a hard one. Number 3, what is an acceptable format for communicating an appraisal report? Fannie Mae 1004 form, that's A. B, Fannie Mae 2055 form. C, narrative format. Or D, any of these answers. I'm going to go with any of them. I'll probably fail this one. Fuck, I got a 33% out of 66. Amin's only got one right. Number 1, Jorge is preparing an appraisal report for using in a divorce proceeding. What are his USPAP reporting requirements regarding his definition of value? You said, you used he must use the FIREA definition of market value, which is incorrect. The correct answer is he must state the definition and cite its source. In an appraisal report, an appraiser must state the market value definition and also cite the source of the definition. Chapter 3, Standards Rule 2-2B, Roman numeral 5. Number 2, Brenda prepares an appraisal report in which she states, word for word, the market value definition she is using. What other USPAP reporting requirements, if any, does she have regarding her definition of value? You said there are no other USPAP requirements regarding her value definition. That is incorrect. The correct answer is she must cite the source of the definition. In an appraisal report, an appraiser must state the type and definition of value and also cite the source of the definition. Chapter 3, FIREA, market value definition. And number 3, what is an acceptable format for communicating an appraisal report? You put any of these answers and you answer that correct. So a narrative format, a Fannie Mae 2055 form, and a Fannie Mae 1004 form were all acceptable for communicating an appraisal report. Let me write that shit down real quick. Okay, here's the retake. Number 1, what is an acceptable format for communicating an appraisal report? We just answered that one correct, so I'm going to put any of those answers. Number 2, exposure time is the same as marketing time. True or false? That is false. And number 3, an appraiser may base and a value opinion on special non-market financing terms. True or false? May base a value opinion on special non-market financing terms. I'm not sure. I'm going to go false. Assessment completed. You got a 66.7. Let's review the things. You got the first one correct, which was any of those. Number 2, exposure time is the same as marketing time. True or false? You said false. That is correct. And number 3, an appraiser may base a value opinion on special non-market financing terms. True or false? You said false. That is incorrect. It's true. If the client requests that the market value be based on non-market financing or special financing terms, the report must summarize the terms of the special financing and explain their effect on the subject's value. Chapter 3, FIREA, Market Value Definition. And I think we're going to call it good right there.